Hey Josh, my friend, did you take an amazing camera with you to Switzerland? No? It's stupid! One job! One job.
It's true, Steven. I yelled at my friend.
Were you passionate or yelling is the question.
Well, I was typing, and so there was lots of misspellings, which means that it was angry.
I read every email and text from you in angry Jared voice.
There is no angry Jared. I was upset.
F-bomb, F-bomb. What the F?
Well, I did say you should have fucking taking your fucking camera, you fuck, is probably what
Earmuffs.
I said. Let me read what happened. Is my buddy is in Switzerland. He and his husband are traveling. I don't know what you do in the Swiss Alps. It's probably like Brokeback Mountain, but in the Swiss Alps, legitimately. You know, because they're gay, but they don't drive a Subaru. He likes Porsches, and he has a Jaguar, some like 2015.
Oh, he's bougie.
Oh, Josh is bougie. Josh is a bougie little bitch. He is, but I wouldn't mess with him. He could probably throw down because he would probably get into that like flailing arm thing and just be like, "I'm gonna take you down" type of thing. Anyway, they're traveling, and I'm looking at these pictures, and I'm like, man, these HDR photos look like shit.
I can see you just yelling at yourself like, what the hell? I told him to take a camera, a real camera.
Well,
You get so angry for other people. It's funny.
I do, and it goes on for 20 years still. I'm still angry about things 20 years later.
You're like, I'm not yelling. I'm like, you're literally yelling, Jared.
No, it's not yelling. It's just being loud. It's just being loud. So he's posting these photos, and it's beautiful. It's Switzerland. It's like I have the sound of music, and there's beautiful clouds and streams and greens and cows and gay people and all of this stuff. And I'm like, these photos suck. So what I do is I'm like, hey, did you take your real camera with you? Already knowing the answer.
Yeah. You got it all queued up. F. What the F?
Yeah, no, so I was like, how's your trip? Did you take a real camera? And he goes, it's great. I didn't bring a real camera, and I regret it immensely. I was trying to pack light because we had a lot of stops. iPhone isn't cutting it. And then I proceeded to curse him out and say, how many fucking times are you going to Switzerland? You should take your goddamn camera. I'm like, you want to pack light? The camera doesn't take up that much space. It doesn't take up that much weight. You're going to Switzerland and all these other stops. You need to take a real freaking camera.
He probably got the message from you, and he's like, Jared just messaged me. I got to tell him the truth. I'm going to get yelled at.
It's true.
I will say it looks absolutely amazing where he is.
Beautiful
locations.
And then you see these over highlight brought back skies, and you're like, this is terrible. Because and then you get so you get all these commenters that are like defending not taking a real camera with you. And yes, I consider a real camera not an iPhone, and there's a reason you take that with you is because it's quality and you're going to get better results on this trip that you probably will never go on again. And so everybody is disappointed with their cell phone. And if you're not disappointed and you think it's good enough, I don't even want to talk to you because you're not going to be like, yeah, I could take my cell phone and take snapshots, but yeah, I'm not going to get photographs. You're not getting lasting images. Sure. Every once in a while, you might snap something and someone might be like, oh, that's amazing. What'd you take that with?
See, the issue with taking smartphone photos these days is they're just not future-proof. The terrible JPEG compression, the haloing, the artifacting that you get, especially when you view it on a real display, a real monitor, a giant TV screen. Yeah, it may look good on your phone, but the second you look at it on a real display, it looks terrible. It just will not hold up as we get into more HDR displays, higher resolution displays, 8K TVs. It's going to look terrible. Again, it might look good these days on your phone, but it is not future-proof like a real photograph from a real camera is.
I tell people, and it goes all the way back to before I was even Frono's Photo and working at the camera store, and people would come in, and I know they were pros, and they say, I'm going on a trip. What's the best point and shoot to give me the best quality? And I'm like, none. And they look at me weird, and I'm like, take your real camera. take your fucking camera. Now, I'm gonna die on that hill. Because, people are like, but everybody has it. Like, it's not always about carrying your camera. I don't take a camera everywhere with me. We all know this. I don't walk out the door and grab a shitty Leica and take it with me because something might happen on the street when I go to pick up lunch. That's just not me. I go out with intent to shoot. But if I'm traveling, I'm going to take, as I've said, I like taking the R8 and one lens, and you're going to get so much better results. Much better results than anything else.
And for someone like Josh, who cares about his look, his aesthetic, I could see him taking like a ZF.
Is that a gay joke?
No, he's
what?
he's the stereotypical gay man. He likes how he looks. He likes how, he wants to dress well. But I could see him rocking like a ZF with a 40 mil f2 pancake or something like that. Like kind of like what you did in Paris that one time. Didn't you take a 35 with a ZF?
No, so that was Italy. I took the ZFC, the smaller one.
That's it. Okay.
The ZFC, and I used the shitty kit lens, and I got great results. Do you want to know why I got great results? Because I'm good.
But my point is, it's a small camera, and it still looks good on you.
Yeah, well, I don't fuck that, Steven. Sorry, I don't care how it looks on you.
I'm simply speaking for Josh because I know he does.
Don't speak for Josh.
Guarantee if you ask him to take around a ZF versus like a R8, he's going to pick the Z8 all day or ZF all day.
I don't speak for Josh.
Ask him.
I'm going to call him.
He's definitely not picking up. He's like, I don't want to get yelled at right now. I'm on vacation. Not Jared again.
Damn.
As expected, he didn't pick up.
Sorry, can't talk right now.
His husband, Chris, is like, don't answer that. Do not answer.
I like Chris.
I like
both of them.
Yeah.
I like Josh because he cooks good food. He's a chef.
Well, if he gets back to you or text him now, like, would you rather take a camera that is aesthetically pleasing or would you rather take an R8?
I'm not asking him that. He doesn't. That's
I
too much explanation.
He says the ZF.
So anyway, that would have been better. In his other comment, he said, would have been great to have that $5,000 Sony. Yeah, that Sony would have been slightly better, but still the wrong choice to take with you.
Yeah.
Terrible camera.
A7CR, man, all day.
Yeah, or like you said, the ZF would be a good. I hate the ZF. If you don't have a grip on it, it's terrible.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's like my X100. I needed to add on that little small rig or tilted grip, whatever it is.
Yeah. So anyway, the moral of the story for everybody listening out there is take your camera. When you're traveling, stop asking me what travel camera you should take. There is none. There is no travel camera. Take your camera. Take your camera, put one good lens on there. I don't care if it's a 35-1.4 or a 28-70 2.8 that Canon makes. Put something on it and take it with you. You're going to be much happier that you did. Make sure you carry it on the airplane with you. Do not check it in your luggage. And you don't have to take every single lens you have. You know what lens you don't need when you travel? 70-200 2.8. Unnecessary. Do not need it. You need just a basic 28-70 2.8, 28-70 f2, which is heavy. You could take a 35. You could take a short 24-70, whatever. Just take something that's going to give you better results than a stupid freaking cell phone.
I will say, on the flip side, when I went to Disney World, I took a quote-unquote real camera, an R5, and I think I used it like one time for that one big picture in front of the castle.
That's right. You should not even take a camera to Disney because we have people that shoot great photos.
Yeah, we got a lot of the Disney's Photo Pass. I think we got most of the pictures from those people who, by the way, they've switched to Sony. They're not using Nikons anymore. Old Nikon DSLRs like D5500s, they now have switched, and I think they're using A7 IVs with 24-105s, and it looks much better because they're all full frame.
Well, what's that cost?
I think it was $200 for the week, and it's like unlimited pictures, if I recall.
Oh my God, that's terrible.
But my point is I did actually take a real camera for that trip, and I used my phone most of the time.
Yeah, I would have never taken that real camera.
But it's also not Switzerland, so I will say it's a totally different thing.
Moving on. I have a really good comment from someone that we photographed, and by we, I mean I photographed, Stephen filmed, a few weeks ago when we did the Civil War reenactment with the 4x5 camera. The reason I was there is I met this guy, Ira, back in 2 years ago. He was at the event, and I stayed in touch with him, and he let me know that there was another reenactment coming up at this Landis Farms place in Lancaster, and if I wanted to come out again and take photos. So I was like, yeah, I'll come out and take photos, and Ira ended up being a lot of the focus of my portraits, because you kind of, instead of trying to get everybody, you can then lock in and try to get portraits of one person. Mm-hmm. And so I got a bunch of portraits of Ira, and I sent him the pictures. He loved them. He asked if he could get some prints, and so I sent him a bunch of prints in the mail, and he sent me a text back, and his text was this: "Spectacular is the immediate word that comes to mind."
Wow.
4 exclamation points. "Truly appreciate the photographs, and the quality is superb. Love how aspects in the image are crystal clear, and yet other areas are slightly blurred.
Ooh.
Very Civil War-ish. And you may not have noticed, but during the photo shoot, you called me I on multiple occasions. Honestly, only my parents and my sister would call me that, and I was attending Landis Valley with a very heavy heart, knowing that my father was gravely ill and most likely to pass within days, which he ended up passing within days."
Oh, he did?
Yeah. "He always loved my involvement in Civil War reenacting, and I knew he was okay with me attending, but it was definitely on my mind. Hearing you call me that honestly brought a sense of comfort to me." And that was the comment that I got from sending Ira his photos.
Wow. So I heard you call him I a handful of times throughout the photo shoot. I just assumed you guys were buddies, like good friends at that point, or knew each other for years. I really didn't know your relationship at that time, but it's crazy that the smallest little thing will change someone's day.
I was actually channeling his father through me. His father was like, "Say I." And I was like, he's going to really like this. I just call people, anybody that I've ever known that is Ira, for short, you just go I, because it's much easier and quicker to say than Ira.
Yeah, I'm surprised he said that only his siblings call him I, like no friends or anything like that growing up. Like I would think that would be a nickname for him.
Yeah, just call people I. But it's always nice to obviously give the gift of photography and get those replies back. And we worry so much about quality as I sit here and talk about taking quality stuff on the road with you. And most people won't know the difference. I know the difference, but it's always great to get those reenactments, those reactions to the work that we do.
All people care about is a blurry background and a sharp foreground. That's a professional picture to them, which is why cell phones are usually good enough for most people these days.
Usually good enough until you kill it with cropping. Agreed. And zoom in 700 times and wonder why my cell phone sucks and why my pictures suck. I still come back to that time and time again. I get a bunch of messages from people who are like, "It was great hearing you say that you don't crop, and then I challenged myself and I wasn't happy with the quality I was getting before, and then I realized that I was just
1,000%.
Cropping 8 billion times in." You know what I'm tired of other than everything? Seeing all the Instagram videos now that are all like the photo versus the crop. Like that is the trend now, to make these reels or these story carousels where they show you the box of where they cropped. And you're like, you literally chopped off 98% of this image and you think that that's a good thing? You think that's a good photo? You think that that's quality? Yeah, maybe in a little fucking square on Instagram, but not if you did anything with it in the real world.
Just like I was saying earlier, it might look great on the phone with a snapshot from a smartphone these days, but it's not future-proof. In a few years, when you have higher resolution screens, whether that be the phone or a computer monitor or a TV, it's going to look horrendous. Or try printing it. You're going to see all those imperfections. Now, you will die on that hill with the whole no cropping thing. I've told you where I stand. I try my best to crop in camera, basically, but I'm not opposed to cropping in post. However, it's usually if I'm straightening out a horizon or putting the transform tool and tweaking the edges or something like that. It's usually not cropping in 100%. I never really do that.
I'm looking at one right now that we send these around, a couple of friends of mine, because they know me and cropping, but it's just like this person wrote, "So much of my artistic process happens in post with cropping and coloring an image. There's no right way to do it, but I want my photos to look like art and tell a story, so I try to frame them as such. Hey, fuckhead, how about you frame them in the goddamn camera? Had to save one of my craziest crops for last.
My issue, coming from a concert photography background, just like you, there were a lot of moments where I just had to capture the moment, and then I could almost figure out composition later because it happened so quickly, or I saw something better in post, a better composition that could be made. That's when I would do a creative crop after the fact. But it usually came down to I had split second to take the image.
I'm showing Steven one right on the screen right now.
Oh yeah, that's I'd say over 100% crop.
This is a little frame. But you want to see what they cropped it to, Steven? You could see what they cropped it to. They literally, that's what they did.
Yeah.
Isolating the subject. It's a track and field one. And here's another terrible one. Look at how they shot this basketball photo, Steven. And it's a regular basketball photo. But of course, they then make it into that, which isn't even a proper aspect ratio crop.
Just going to say, are they cropping 2:3 or no?
No, it's 4:5 for Instagram. And this is another thing, a trend that I'm seeing negatively with new photographers. And I critiqued or I mentored one person that I've helped out for the last year and a half who went to the Savannah Bananas, and I did a critique of his Savannah Banana work yesterday, and I come up on a crop and I'm like, what the fuck did you just do to this photo? He's like, well, it was for Instagram. I made it a square. I'm like, no, because it's now a terrible photo to begin with. What you did with it, your crop is horrible. There is no reason to do that. Instagram is not the arbiter of proper aspect ratio.
I do think Instagram, though, has ruined proper aspect ratios. A lot of people will, like that guy, crop for Instagram. 1:1, 4:5, whatever it may be.
100% horrible crop. And the stuff that I just showed you with that person who's saying that most of their work is done in post when it comes to cropping. Of course, I get processing your RAW files, but when you're going out with the intent of shooting loose and cropping later, I think it's the worst mentality to have. Those are the people that sit there and say, I think we need more than 24 megapixels because the quality is so bad. No, you're so bad. You're not shooting with intent. You're not shooting in filling the frame and using all of the pixels you have.
And this kind of comes back to the whole discussion we always have, shooting with your EVF versus the back of the screen. I think a lot of people don't see the full composition when they're shooting with the LCD screen, and in post see oh, I could have been tighter, or I could have been more centered, and they end up fixing that, where if you're holding your eye up to the EVF, you see all of that in real time much better.
You want to know why? I think it's because there's so much junk on the screen, on the LCD screen, when they're shooting photos, that it's misleading when they're getting their composition. I see that happen when I'm using the electronic viewfinder to record.
But you can remove all that too.
Oh, I know I can.
You can make it clean. Yeah.
No, I know I can, but when I'm doing the recording of the EVF for our reviews, we want to see all of that data and all of that information.
Oh yeah, I'm talking more about other people.
Yeah, no, for other people. But anyway, that's the crop thing. That just is so frustratingly annoying when you see these, and you're going to see them now on Instagram, now that I've said it, or you probably already have, that it's like the shot versus the crop. And it's like, that is just the wrong mentality. Just try a little harder to fill the frame with the proper composition. And filling the frame with the proper composition doesn't mean shooting everything uber tight. A lot of these crops that these people are showing are just like, we're getting rid of every ounce of nuance in the image just to show, oh, look, it's a basketball player. So no longer do we have the defender defending. It's a tight crop in some willy-nilly bullshit aspect ratio because they just dragged it however they wanted to.
It goes from a photograph to a sports coverage snapshot, basically.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So anyway, I want to finish up with the Civil War thing, because when we were out there, Steven shot video.
That's what we were talking about.
That's what we were talking about. I'm bringing it back.
Squirrel.
We were talking to Steven shot video. I shot photos. I wrote a cool script, something like 3.5-ish minutes of a script. And I want to just play you the first 10 seconds of it to draw you in. So Steven's going to roll that right meow. Slow down. In a world where we can shoot still photos at frames per second, the founding fathers of photography could never have imagined. With all the fancy bells and whistles, endless quality lenses, insane autofocus, and the ability to go back in time to pluck out the perfect moment? Has photography become too easy?
Now, keep in mind, that's really just the processed voiceover. It's not edited at all for pacing. There's no background music. There's no ambient sounds mixed in. I'm going to really make it come to life in the video edit.
In a world where Jared has the best voice ever for doing voiceovers.
A voiceover that I have to clean up a ton in post.
There's nothing I can do to clean it.
I think your beard hair rubs against because a lot of... You hear all the little tiny like sibilants, everything.
What do I need to do? Put up something on the microphone?
I mean, I could put a crazy gate on the mic and just really... but I like hearing sometimes the subtle breaths here and there. So I kind of like to have as raw audio as I can get. And then I like to process it in post.
Yeah. Well, it sounds amazing.
Just like my photos, crop a ton in post.
Exactly.
Now that script will be part of a future video coming out fairly soon. The theme is generally about slowing down, being more thoughtful about every single frame that you take, getting offline, capturing life, forgetting algorithms, going back to the simplicity of analog over digital, just getting out there and stripping it down to the fundamentals. And it's like a double meaning, stripping it down to the fundamentals in both life and in the camera.
I mean, that's how you took it. I took it a slightly different way. I get the slowing down. The message that I'm trying to get across in the thing is, in a world where you can shoot things super duper 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 fast and capture everything, can you turn around and take the most basic and fundamental gear and the fundamentals of photography and implement that to get good images? And so for me, it's yes, slowing down's one thing. The other thing is understanding the fundamentals of photography, because if you can understand the fundamentals, you can shoot with anything because you get the basics.
I think the original script, we went back and forth a few times and you were just being hyper specific about like, you got to use aperture, ISO, exposure triangle. I'm like, no. Strip all that. Be super vague.
Yeah, I still like the other stuff too.
Sure. No, but I don't think that's this video. This is more of a summary of this Civil War reenactment and slowing down the process of photography. And I think what you ended up with was kind of exactly the vision that we had, or at least I had.
You had.
Yeah. Then we'll also have a long form video of the entire Civil War reenactment at some point. So we kind of double dip. And I think it's going to be very similar to the Humbled video.
Humbled. Today I was humbled by an unexpected group of people in my life. That's it. That's all I got. I don't memorize these things.
When I kept coming back to that video, I'm like, again, just like the Humbled script, vague. Don't be specific. Step back.
Yeah.
Like you almost pigeonholed me to having to show certain things on the screen. I'm like, no. I'm just showing general visuals of the Civil War reenactment, you shooting, that kind of stuff.
I'm very literal.
Tell the story. I know. Well, it's the issue we have with titles too. You're super literal.
Yeah. Well, I remember back in the day working with someone, and their whole thing for music videos was it shouldn't be super literal, right? Like the music video shouldn't match the whole thing, which means they're trying to do an artsy fartsy thing. But that takes way longer than if you just, film the damn thing and be literal. Who cares?
It doesn't come across as a creative piece at that point.
There's a reason it works, because it's a story. It's a visual representation of the story. And then sometimes if you try to get too artsy fartsy, people are sitting there going, what the fuck am I even watching?
I do agree. If you go the opposite direction and go way overboard with artsy fartsy stuff, it's like, what is this? What is this art house random piece?
One of the greatest music videos ever is 33s by Smashing Pumpkins.
That's your ringtone, right?
It's been my ringtone for like a decade.
Longer than that.
Has it been?
I've known you for 14 years now, probably, and it's definitely been your ringtone that entire time.
You know my dad's ringtone, right?
The Mambo number 5, right?
Ladies and gentlemen, the Mambo number 5.
And then your brother is a South Park or something? What is it?
Yeah. Give me man, with me to my poker face. Yeah.
You always have your ringtone on, don't you? My phone remains on silent all the time.
Yeah, I don't leave it on silent all the time.
Yeah.
So if you have never watched 33s by Smashing Pumpkins, I highly recommend you just pull it up on YouTube. And the way that they shot it is they took a Nikon F3 with a extender, a film extender back that allowed it to have like I don't know if it was 100 or 300 frames on it instead of 36, and they used the motor drive, which I think gave them 6 or 7 photos. I have the camera. I have an F3 with a motor drive on it. I don't have the extended back, but what they did is they used the 35 millimeter back to allow them to make, in essence, moving pictures. And so when you watch the video, you can see how the pictures were moving. Now, when they talk about this after the fact, they talk about how they wish they realized the movement, they could do more movement and it would have been cooler. They just weren't sure when they were shooting it how the results would turn out because they were being experimental with it. It is just a really, really cool video. And yeah, they could have taken it a step further. But like I said, they weren't sure what the results were going to be. They thought they couldn't move as much, but then they realized that the movement is what actually made the video even better. So I highly suggest you check out 33s.
Who was the band that always made the crazy music? OK Go.
OK Go?
Yeah, they always made those intense, record-breaking like music videos.
Well, when your music sucks, you got to do something else.
I mean, they became known for their music videos, not for the music. It's unfortunate. Yeah. I don't know. How do you one up every single video? I mean, when you're already doing the craziest video of all time.
the treadmill dance for $6 was what synchronized treadmills was great.
Yeah.
I mean, that's unique, and that was using the power of the internet to stand out and be something different.
And I always think of Beastie Boys music videos.
So what you want? Using a fisheye lens for the whole entire thing.
The best.
So anyway, let's move on from there. I requested from Canon the 75-300 RF lens.
Piece of shit. What? What? Someone say something?
What? Where'd that come from? Beep, 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 beep. Goodbye, money truck.
Let me reverse that.
That was Steven. Steven's money truck is leaving. No, that's like a money Fisher Price vehicle. So yeah, this is a 75-300 that is RF version. But when you look at the specs and everything about it, you sit there and you say, yeah, they literally just rehoused an EF version into an RF mount and called it a day. It has the old stepping motors. It has the old
DC motor that you can literally like old camcorder style.
Yeah. You have the old coatings. The only thing new about it is the mount. And so I wanted to take this out. I put it on an R50. You know, it's a $219 lens, and you always have to come back to remember it's $219.
Yeah.
You shouldn't expect a 70 to 200 quality out of a $219 lens.
Well, and at first we were debating, like, what do we put it on? What do we review it with? Like, let's throw it on an R8, the cheapest full frame body. But it's like, but that doesn't really make sense. It's a $219 lens. Are you really pairing it with a full frame body? But again, that's the cheapest option, full frame, and it's a full frame lens. But why not put it on an APS-C body and have it be a mega zoom lens? Because that's all people want when they're buying these cheap bodies. And that's what you did. R50. Pairs perfectly with it.
This lens is meant to go with the R50, the R100, and the R10. Yeah, you could put it on an R7, but you're already spending over $1,000 plus $1,200, $1,500 for an R7.
That's more expensive than an R8. It's the flagship APS-C versus the budget entry level full frame. That's why it's more expensive than the R8.
Yeah, I still find it hard to want to invest in an R7 myself.
I mean, it does have everything except being a full frame sensor.
Yeah, it does. But when you squeeze more pixels into a smaller sensor, you then are going to have issues versus a full frame, which is larger with less pixels. So I keep coming back to that. Like when people said that the Nikon D500 was like the greatest quality camera ever, I never saw it. I owned that camera. I bought that camera, and that camera sucked. I just don't think people understood.
You always hated that camera.
I did. And we didn't even have full frame at the time. We still had like D2Hs and D2Xs or whatever. Maybe we had D3s by that point. But we probably had D3s by that point. But that camera lacked just a zhush, a feeling when you took photos. It just didn't have that sharpness, and it was the smaller sensor, and I just didn't like it.
I will say, again, my X100 6 is a 40 megapixel APS-C camera, and I think the quality looks great.
But it's 15, 20 years newer than the other one. So you're going to see a massive quality.
But so is the R7.
Yeah, but but there's still a look when I go and I look at that, I just don't like the feel of it. I'd rather have you make a 20 megapixel crop sensor, which better pixels and better quality, Papa John's. That's what I would prefer to have.
Yeah.
Anyway, getting back to the 75-300, took it out to the Phillies game. And I know people are like, but why are you shooting a professional event with a shitty lens? It was like, well,
wait for it.
I also went and sat in the stands and shot like a douchebag
Exactly.
who doesn't know how to take a picture.
I had to force you. I'm like, dude, don't only shoot on the field because no one buying this lens is going to be on the field shooting. They're going to be in the rafters all the way at the top, zooming in. Because what's the equivalent? 120 to 480 on a 1.6x crop, right?
Something like that.
So it's like a f9 equivalent at the long end in terms of background blur.
Well, yeah.
But you're a 480, so...
Yeah, it doesn't matter. 480, it doesn't matter. Dude, I've got photos with this thing where the background is completely obliterated,
Yeah.
but we'll talk about that in a second. I started in the first base dugout. You ended up seeing me on TV, and then someone sent me a screen grab, and I said, wow, I must be using that new secret Sony that no one knows about. Surprised I didn't get a call about that. You can't joke about that. I was like, I could joke about whatever I want.
I'm actually kind of surprised you didn't get a call either, yeah.
Not yet, at least. Not yet. Like, we're getting calls like Jared's in it. No, what I really want to see is Sony Alpha rumors try to zoom in and try to guess what it was.
Yeah.
Right. But I started in the first base dugout. I actually never went to third base dugout. Then I went over to the behind next to home plate where I could shoot from inside third, which is not really a place that anybody's going to be sitting. And then I went up into the stands. Went into like row 15. Then I went to all the way upstairs, the furthest away you could go, and shot from there. Then went to the outfield and shot from there. Went from 420, like right behind home plate, shot down.
Then went outside the stadium, shot from the parking lot.
The crazy thing is, what you notice is that on the wider side of this lens, the stuff is sharp and the stuff looks good. The focus actually surprised me. You can see the focus completely working with the autofocus in the camera because the autofocus the system is showing where the overlay is and it's right on the eye. Now it's whether or not that camera the lens can keep up with the focus. The lens focusing sort of keeps up, but it's like stepping. It's a stepping motor, so it's like it's making all those zooming noises and. In a tighter area where you're zoomed in on something, it's doing a pretty good job of maintaining focus.
By the way, you keep saying stepping motor. This is not a stepping motor. It's not an STM motor. It's a DC motor, brushless DC motor, I'm pretty sure. So it's literally like the, you know.
I just turned on the camera to try and have it work, to show you the zoom. But if you do not have an SD card in this camera, it doesn't even allow you to zoom.
I think that's all the Canons are like that.
Like, no, I don't mean zoom, I mean focus. So I'm going to put a card in here because I want you to hear it.
Can't stand that Canon does that.
Yeah, I get not letting you take a picture, but here.
It's so bad. It's so loud. So speaking of it being loud, I'd say the closest lens that they have for crop sensor bodies is that shitty Kit 55 to 210 lens, which is a $380 lens, and that is a f5 to 7.1.
Wow.
That has image stabilization, that has an STM motor, which is going to be quiet and will be you'll be able to shoot video with it and not hear the motors literally focusing.
Motor in.
And it has a control ring, which this one lacks because, again, it's just a rehoused body from the old EF version 3 lens from 25 years ago, whatever it was.
Yeah. So I wrote a note to Steven before this about that lens for us to remember it. It says this: the key with the 75-300 is set expectations if you buy it. Just know it's $219. You're getting a hell of a lot better zoom photos out the door than with your cell phone. So that is a win. So yeah, you're going to get better photos with this than any cell phone that you try and zoom in with. But you're also getting the lowest quality zoom Canon makes. So the zoomed all the way out images certainly are going to show a lot of imperfections. And I noticed this. I noticed that on the wider side at 70 or 100, or even on the crop sensor body, that the images look sharp and they look good and they look accurate when they're hitting the eye, when they can find the face and the eye. But when you look at this lens and you look at the end of it, when you zoom it, it literally looks like someone put one of those magnifying glasses lens attachments like you used to put on camcorders that just enlarge the image, because all the way out at the end at 300, you're seeing a shit ton of fringing. You're seeing not really sharp. You might get some lucky ones, but a lot are on the haze. They're focused, but they have a little haze to it.
So with cheapy lenses like this, they typically have less elements, less groups than
they only have 7 aperture blades in this one.
And usually most of those elements and groups are on the wide end and not the long telephoto end. So my guess is it's going to be much sharper, like your findings are pretty much on the wide end versus the telephoto side.
Yeah.
This is what, 12 or 13 elements and 9 groups. And I think a standard, like a high-end L lens probably has 20 elements.
Yeah. What's happening is as you zoom, you have no more elements. You have just literally it's magnifying it.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I think it's doing. And
that's also why it's so small and compact.
Well, you're still going to get better results than if you took a cell phone out to the baseball game. Just know that. And when you see these photos, you're going to be like, oh, that's not bad, right? And I took it out to the park. Is it going to have the same punch? No. Is it going to have the same sharpness? No.
At the end of the day, is it good enough for $219? Because like I was saying earlier, the 55-210 is your other option, which is a true RFS lens, but it's $380, nearly double the price.
Yeah, for $219, if someone just wants more zoom on their shitty mirrorless camera, this is going to do it outside. Is it going to do it the fastest focusing ever? No. Is it going to do an okay job? I did an okay job. I did a very good job. Well, anything in my hand, I'm going to do a great job. But for $200, you have to put these things into context. It's $219. You expect $219 results. And pretty amazing. People always rip on Canon. Oh, your lenses are so expensive. We need third-party lenses. And it's like, well, here you go.
We also have to keep in mind, from someone that's just getting into photography, $219 is still a lot of money. You know, they think a $400 lens is they think a $400 lens is crazy expensive. Like every time we do a budget lens video and call something budget and it's over like $600, they laugh at us. It's like, well, if you're actually in the photo world, you get that it truly is budget when you compare it to a professional high-end lens that's $2,000+.
It was the same way for me starting out. I was like, but I spent $400 for the body. Yeah. How is the lens more expensive?
Exactly.
And I just didn't realize it.
I do think the lack of stabilization, though, is a big deal. I'd almost rather recommend that 55-210 just because of that, because a lot of people are shooting in an auto mode with a camera like this or a lens like this, and that auto mode is probably defaulting to like 1/125th of a second, and you're at like 480 millimeters, or you're trying to shoot video or something, and it's just a shaky mess, like you said with the EVF.
It's
recorder.
Definitely shaky.
Yeah, so it's a big deal for an amateur beginner lens not having stabilization, which is why most of the kit lenses have IS built in, at least on Canon.
Yep. All right, let's move on from there. There is something called the PBPA, Professional Baseball Photographers Association.
Not the PBA.
No, I'm not a part of the PBPA because I don't pay to be part of this association. There's a membership that I'm not a part of. There's benefits that come with it, but I'm not a part of it. So anyway, someone in that's a Major League Baseball shooter started this organization for other professional photographers around the league to have some sort of advocacy group and a group. And they do a contest every year for sports photos, baseball photos, and it must be taken in the 2024 season for what was submitted for that one. And I usually don't enter competitions, but this is a little different because it's amongst professionals and peers. So it's slightly different. There's a bunch of different categories. So you've got categories of portfolio, which is 20 photos maximum, a diverse collection of images demonstrating a photographer's skill range covering the sport of baseball over the course of a year. You've got team and league photographer portfolio, so obviously I can't be a part of that one. You got action, feature, story, portrait, emotion, amateur, which is Steven, and student.
Dick.
And it is sponsored and presented by Sony. There's some the grand prize for portfolio for the best winner. The grand prize winner was an A9 III and a 70 to 200 2.8.
Wow, that's quite a kit.
Yeah. So
Nice.
I entered all my 4x5, like with all 4x5 stuff,
And you lost everything.
I didn't lose everything. I actually finished first in a section you would never think Jared would ever win in, but portrait.
Amateur?
I won for, you can go to baseballphotographers.org and you can click on contest winners. So it's baseballphotographers.org.
/winners, by the way.
Well, that's if you go there, but just to keep it simple, baseballphotographers.org. And I wanted to win the grand prize. Well, like, not because I wanted that camera gear, but because I wanted my portfolio to win. And you can see the portfolios, you can see the photos that were selected. Like in portraits, I do think my portrait is like the best portrait out there.
I'm surprised they picked the Stubbs portrait, by the way. I feel like you have a lot of better, not to say it's bad, but I feel like you have better options.
Yeah, I put in other portraits, but they picked the Stubbsy one, and it's a great, I really like the portrait.
It is solid, yeah.
But yeah, I thought I had the Bryce Harper's good. But anyway, that's solid. I don't understand how the fourth photo, the honorable mention on the right, is considered a portrait.
It's
someone running out of a dugout with the sun flare. I look at some of these things and I go, what? How does that even fit?
How do you categorize that? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't. But I that's good. You could scroll all the way down. I wasn't as disappointed that when I saw the portfolio winner get posted, I saw a photo of Bryce Harper, his back. He's out of focus and there's two fighter jets flying over.
Yeah.
If you go and you look at my portfolio, which they did list because I got honorable mention in portfolio, so that means I didn't win, but I got honorable mention, you can see that there's a photo that is not included. I guess I didn't include that photo. You can go to jaredpolin.com, click on 4x5. There's a photo of Mitch who won this. Mitch Leff won the best portfolio of him taking this photo of Harper with the fighter jets flying over. It's actually pretty cool because I get the whole, like, getting that timing right. So Mitch's portfolio obviously follows the Phillies around. There's some really good photos in there. And then there's some general baseball photos that you're like, this is in London. So it's the London series. And what makes the photo good is that it's in London, basically. There's nothing extraordinary about a shot that is Bryce Harper hitting a home run in London, other than it's Bryce Harper hitting a home run in London, and it's part of the story.
I was wondering what was so special about that image, but now I see what you're saying. It says
right,
London
but see, that's it.
Yeah,
What's great about Mitch, he's not the team photographer, but he also fills in as like the assistant team photographer, and he also shoots for Getty. And he set out this year last year to basically create a portfolio like this. What is good about when Mitch shoots is he's always there, meaning he's always in the spot to make something happen. So after a game, he's running out on the field because he has the ability to do that, which I don't and most other shooters don't, to then like rush to the guys celebrating and doing whatever they're doing. Like, he's always in the places, so
has the access.
So what most people don't realize that a lot of photographers do, and Mitch is one of those, is he studies all of the images that get posted to the AP, to Getty, so what other people are shooting, to all the different wires. He looks at what other people are creating at the games, which were the same games that he created, to see if there's something that he might have missed or something that he could memory bank for the future to try and capture. So congratulations to Mitch for winning the grand prize there. You guys can see all of the other images that are there for the different categories. I wanted to win because I thought mine was super unique and different, but I can see that just because it's unique and different and it's shot with the 4x5, I do think that the level of difficulty is much higher with something like that. But his story goes from opening day to not a World Series celebration, but there are some celebration photos in there in the locker room.
I like that his portfolio is not just simple coverage sports photos, snapshots. They're more on the artsy fartsy side, which I think you need to do to stand out. But like you said, he has the access. He can be there in the moment. He can be behind the scenes. He can get these unique images compared to most of the other shooters. Does he shoot, by the way, Sony?
Yeah, he likes his A1s, and I think he might have an A1 too.
Curious if he'll shoot with the A9 III because of the loss of resolution.
So he likes the 50 megapixels because he does do his cropping.
Sure.
Not major crops like other people, but he likes that. And does he need the speed of the other because he has to go through all those images? I don't know if he'll keep the body, but the funny thing is he just bought a 50 to 150 f2. So is it necessary to have the 70 to 200? I mean, it's what, $60 some $100 for an A9 III, and it's $3,000. I mean, this is like $9,000. If you went to trade it in at a store, if you went to Alan's Camera, I don't think he would get $9,000 out of it, but you could do like $7,000 trade in. But what does he need? He's got all the lenses. He's got his 400 2.8. He's got his 50 to 150. He's got some 70 to 200. There's really not much more he needs to add.
The question is, does he need that global shutter aspect, or does he need the high 120 frames per second frame rate, which probably really doesn't. I mean, the A1 II is good enough. 30 frames per second, stacked, high-speed sensor, has everything else.
Yeah, we'll see. But congrats to him. And if you want to see a real a sports shooter who's been doing it for 30-some years, 30 years, I think, Rob Tringali. I don't know how to spell Rob Tringali, but spell it out phonetically and then post it or look for it. Rob on Instagram, and he follows me. So if you go to Rob and I follow him on my Instagram, you could find him. What Rob does is he shies away from the normal action stuff and spends a lot of time roaming the stands, but making it baseball worthy. It's really incredible what he does in the stands.
I just found it. It's Rob Tringali, Tringali. That is his Instagram handle, Rob Tringali, one word.
Yeah, he travels all around. I believe his father had some sort of photo agency, and so that started him at like 18 getting into baseball shooting. Used what he had to get in and just continues to hone his skills. I run into him all over the place. He's in New York. He's in Boston. He runs all around for Major League Baseball. He does a lot of stuff with them. But his stuff is behind the scenes, but still being baseball with fans in the crowd.
Really good stuff.
Yeah.
You know what jumped out to me, too? If you go below your winning portrait on the baseballphotographers.org website, the feature winner, Matthew Grimes, I thought his photograph of this kid holding up a bat with the flaring of the stadium lights was a really interesting, unique photo. That stood out to me.
Yeah, I hope he's not using that crystal shit.
It's hard to say because it almost looks like it's flaring off the bat, but yeah, I don't know. And it's only one side of the frame. It's not the entire frame.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was unless he got a raindrop on the frame.
Something, yeah. But
or something.
Really interesting, unique photo.
Yeah, so take a look. You can see what was winning, and like any contest, it's all subjective to whoever the judges are. Someone might like one thing, and the other person might not like the other. I believe they did it all blindly and the judges submitted everything. Oh, I won some stuff, by the way. Here's prizes for portraits. You ready? 2 ProGrade CF Express 4.0 Type B Gold 512 gig memory cards with USB 4 card reader.
Okay.
Oh, or I guess there's an or option. 2 ProGrade CF Express Type A cards 480, which I don't need because I use more of the others. So I guess I won 2 512 cards.
That's a $190 card.
Nice.
Actually, yeah, for the double pack, it's $340. $307 on sale. Man, CF Express B cards have come down significantly in price.
Yeah. Yep. So glad.
Ironically,
glad
too, you're kind of like a ProGrade sponsor.
I am a ProGrade user.
Yeah.
That is correct. Moving on. Speaking of baseball, the other day I went out and took my 4x5 for the first time out to the field in a while. I was like in a rut of mental place, which happens every day. So I forced myself to go out there. I'm like, look, I have a newer version of what's called an Aeroectar. If you've been following along my 4x5 stories, you see the original lens that I've been using is a beat up 1940s World War II lens. It has no frills like the other one. I keep saying the new one that I got. The one that I got has basically never seen the light of day. It is perfect with the lens hood. It has all of the writing around the lens. It has the yellow dot. It has the arm for doing the aperture for because the aperture used to stick out of the camera with this arm thing and you could get it to click into place. I didn't know that the other lens didn't have clicks. So the original just doesn't have clicks into different stops, which means it might kind of be off or misaligned, might be off. And so that the new lens is like aesthetically perfect and functionally perfect. And my worry with it,
is it too pristine?
Well, that's my thing. My worry is it too perfect? Because I shot not ultra wide open. I shot closer to f4, but more around 3.5. And I now need to take this lens out and shoot more at 2.5 or on the first half. So the clicks happen 2.5 it clicks and f4 it clicks. So instead of being on the last half of the middle to the click, I want to be on the front half and see how I do.
Is this the 35 mil equivalent f2, or you're saying 4x5?
Oh no, it's an f2.5. It's a 178 millimeter f2.5
Gotcha.
on 4x5, which is the equivalent to like a 50 millimeter f1 if shot wide open.
And you rarely shoot wide open, right?
I rarely shoot wide open, but on the other lens, I've been pretty close to wide open, not, like halfway between 2.5 and 4. But there might be a misalignment of the aperture. So you don't know how it translates because it's so old.
I know we had this debate all week, like, do you stick with the brand new one, the pristine lens, or do you keep using the current old school one that's kind of all messed up and janky? Just because it gives it such a unique characteristic to your photos. Like, is it because of that lens and how old it is, or are they the same?
Or the imperfections. So the thing is, I shot the Civil War photos, and Ira I photographed, and some are out of not perfect because they're like back focused on the ear, and then the other, I absolutely nailed the tightest headshot I've done with a 4x5, and you're like, holy fuck, it is perfect.
This is with the original old.
That's
lens,
with the original beat up one. So what I need to do again is try some more portraits, take them out with a friend, and do some portraits more wide open, and see if it's just extra sharp. If it's extra sharp, I don't know that I want to use it.
I agree. There's a unique characteristic to the softness of that original lens.
It is, but I still want sharpness in the eye. I still want the focus to be correct.
Sure.
But it's hard to put, I put two side by side that were very similar sitting on the bench, and it's hard to tell whether there's much of a difference.
Okay.
If anybody will ever notice, or if it's just in my own head.
If it's hard to tell, I would just keep using the old one and keep the other one as a backup.
I think I'm hitting more in focus with the newer one. This wouldn't even be a question if the newer one was I shot 12 photos the other day, 11 sheets, and the majority of them are actually sharp where I intended it to be.
And typically you wouldn't have that hit rate with your old lens?
I had good hit rates, but then it was just like, is it slightly on the eyebrow or the nose?
Yeah. It's
so
Nikon AF. What?
Well, right.
Huh?
I don't know if I need to. I just need to shoot some wide open sheets and test it out and see how that turns out. But the thing is, I went out to the stadium to do this. Something happened at the stadium that was unintended, and if I wasn't there, that obviously wouldn't have happened. I don't have any photos of the team owner, John Middleton. He owns the team, and I wanted to do a portrait, but I've had no connection into him. I didn't want to ask the PR people. I wanted to talk to him directly. So I see him on the field, and I ask, we had to stay in a certain spot, but I asked one of the handlers down there, is it all right if I go to that spot to try and do this? And they're like, yeah, not a problem. And this was a candid because he's standing up, and I did two photos. One isn't sharp, probably because of his movement, and he might have moved position. His foot is perfectly sharp. His shoe is perfectly sharp. The other one, it's right on, so that's good, and that kind of has that old school look from the old lens. So I don't think there's a difference there. That worked out pretty well. But what happened after is I hung around right before the game started to wait for the owner to walk down underneath the stadium back to my media room.
Creepy.
The reason I wanted to do that is I wanted to personally ask him, say, hey, I've been working on this project with this 1940s camera. Can we set up a time for me to do a portrait of you? And so I'm like, hey, John. And I didn't call him Mr. Middleton. I believe he likes being called John. And this is a Philly thing. If anybody knows Ed Snyder, who owned the Flyers, he was always called Mr. Snyder. Everybody called him Mr. Snyder. And I don't think John wants to be called Mr. Middleton. I just think he likes being called John. He's just like one of the guys. He doesn't feel like he's any better than anybody else. And I've talked about this before, that he's like taking chairs off the field before the game, to helping just regular people, right? Like he does things that you're like, he's just a regular guy. He just so happens to own the damn team. So we're downstairs. I'm like, John, I was like, I've been working on this project with this 1940s camera. He's like, oh, I saw you over there. I was like, yeah, that's cool. He's like, I used to take a lot of photos back in the day. I really love photography. I don't have as much time today, but I love it. I'm like, would it be possible to do some of these portraits? And I have my little 6x6 photo book from Printique, and I opened it up to the Harper page, and it was already open there. And I'm just like, stuff like this. He's like, oh, that's great. That's really good. And that's because I had it handy. Photos. Right, shitty photos. So he's like, yeah, get in touch with my assistant and we'll set something up. I'd love to do it. So because I put myself in the situation, and I wasn't intending to do that day. It presented itself, and I took the opportunity to not wuss out and just talk to him in the hallway, and cuts out the middlemen.
The Middleton.
I show having the look, right? Seeing the camera, he gets it. He saw me on the field. So one, that's something that you see the camera. Two, I had the book with me. And three, I asked. And so that was my first opportunity to talk to him. Now I'm just waiting for, there's a specific picture I have in mind. So here's a little tip for when you're emailing the assistant or someone about photos. First, I introduce myself. Second, I spoke with John directly after a game, and he told me to contact you.
There you go.
Directly about doing portraits. Here are some ideas I have. 3 ideas. Oh, and I did a very Instagram thing. I'm like, here's 3 ideas. The last one is my favorite. Right? So that makes want to read on. So I gave the general, in the stands, I'd like to get a nice portrait of him on this specific seat with the stadium in the background. Then maybe if there is a office upstairs that is his desk, something there. But the one that I truly think fits him the most is sitting on a bucket. One of those baseball ball buckets around home plate, with the stadium in the background going to be out of focus, with the Liberty Bell thing going to be out of focus, with him just around with a bucket of balls and balls on the ground, and maybe he has a glove, and he's just sitting there looking straight at the camera, because that, I feel, fits him. He just is a regular guy, and that's the idea that I like. Yeah, that's just what I like.
Cool.
So,
how long have you been trying to introduce yourself to him?
I've been trying, throughout the season, last season and this season. If an opportunity would have had arisen, I would have taken it. So a year and a half of trying to do it.
And you've seen him several times.
I see him all the time at there, but the opportunity hasn't presented itself as of yet.
Sure, yeah.
This was the first time where we could be one-on-one. No one's going to question me, why are you stopping him?
Stalked him in the hallway.
Yeah, so it was just one-on-one, getting the answer, just getting what I needed.
He's like, please don't talk to me. Please don't talk to me. Oh, hi.
Yeah. And I also ordered him a 12x12 Printique book
Cool.
other 2 days ago.
That's cool.
So that when we do meet, I then give him this book. And let me tell you why that's important, is because I still believe that a charity event, a gallery event, needs to be done for these images, and they need to be blown up big. They need to be big, 4 feet by 6 feet metal prints hanging for either people to purchase to support the players' charities or the Phillies' charities. But also, I just think they need to be seen that way. And it just, people have seen me for the last 2 years out there shooting with this camera, and I'm sure most people haven't seen the results. You could see the results at jaredpolin.com. Just click on the 4x5 folder link right on the main page, and you can go see the photos.
Is that updated?
Yeah, I updated it myself.
Okay.
With
How
Squarespace. A couple weeks ago.
Okay.
Yeah, I updated a few new photo stories as well on the back end.
Cool. Yeah, no, I just know you've shot a lot since you originally put it up.
Yeah, no, I put all the 4x5. There's 4 galleries up there. There's the golf and I think 3 baseball.
Very cool.
So I know we're going a little long here. Do you still want to talk about the Sony triple layer sensor?
I think we can quickly discuss it. Yeah.
So the other day, I think it was Sony Alpha Rumors posted about a triple layer sensor that Sony is working on. And traditionally you have, stacked sensors, but they're 2 layers. And Steven's going to go into the details of what happens when you add a third layer.
Sony currently has their 2-layered stack sensors, like you said. With a third layer, they're saying more processing power can be added at the sensor level, which is a big deal. Sony says it enables enhancement of characteristics through higher density regardless of pixel size. So we're talking better dynamic range for high dynamic scenes, think security cameras, higher gains with lower noise, faster readout speed, higher video resolution overall, less power consumption, everything at the sensor level, which is a big deal. 3 layers on one single chip. Now, I don't think this is coming to like an A7 IV next year or this year, whenever that unicorn camera is coming out. I think it's going to be introduced into security cameras first, just like the global shutter, like the A9 III. That came small sensor form first, then eventually full frame years and years later. Also, I think car cameras, a triple layer sensor will make sense in those types of cameras. The question is, what will be the major caveat if it does come to a full frame sensor or even APS-C? For the A9 III, for example, they sacrificed dynamic range for speed, both in readout and frame rate. Also price. A huge leap in tech like this means massive jump in price, especially for the A9 III. That went from, what was it, $4,500 for the A9 II to $6,000, which now, by the way, with tariffs, it's $6,400. So major leap in price. Will we see this in like an A2 camera or an A1 III 4 or 5 years from now? I don't know, but it's really interesting technology. And I think it's finally, since the global shutter, the next big push in mirrorless technology.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Cleaner shots, cleaner files, more data processing, better focus. I mean, we already have great focus. So it's like, how far can you take this? But seeing the expansion of what Sony's doing, it's interesting to think, is Canon super far behind? Or are they working on, like, they have a global shutter sensor, but not in a full frame camera at this time. And
don't they have a global shutter full frame security sensor?
Well, they have something. I don't know exactly what it is. They're working on that.
Yeah.
But I don't think Canon is that far behind when they do it, but Sony is still the largest. And if they're making these sensors for cars, for vision, vision for cars, it's pretty impressive.
Their R&D department must be massive for the semiconductor company.
Yeah, it's a separate company, the Sony Sensor Semiconductor Studio, whatever the hell they call themselves, SSS or whatever it's called.
But yeah, how long will it take to go from, say, a security camera, small chip, to a giant full frame sensor? And what will the caveats be? That will be the big question.
One of the things that I'm worried about with the AI in cameras is this idea that you'll take a photo, but then it's going to get processed and work through some sort of AI thing that is going to clean up, but take out things that it doesn't think should be there. And then now it's no longer a real photograph because now it's like art being moved, put into it.
This is what the iPhone already does with their smartphone tech, whatever JPEG algorithm. If you take a picture of text from far away, it tries to literally move pixels around to make the text sharper, but sometimes it literally changes what the text says, or a license plate or something like that. I've noticed it with Apple's own RAW file. If you take it in the camera app, it does their little AI algorithm and tries to sharpen things that are really not there and does extra processing of pixels that really don't exist to begin with. Now, if you use the Lightroom app, it truly does take a native RAW file on the smartphone and gives you exactly what the sensor, a clean read from the sensor, basically. And that's what it should be. But yeah, it scares me with the AI processing these days, what it's doing. It's changing the actual image. It's creating things that don't exist.
Yep, that's something that I don't want to see happen.
Same.
Computational photography is one thing. Shitty cell phone photos are another thing. But doing it at the pro level, photojournalistic level, is you got to be very careful. So that's ended up being a lot of stuff to talk about this week.
Yeah.
So Steven's got an update for next week. Do you want to talk about your update for next week?
So I will be on vacation Wednesday to Thursday of the following week. So next week, unless we record early and I have time, I most likely won't be on that episode. And the following week on top of that, unless we record late. So probably expect me not to be a part of RAWtalk the next 2 weeks. And then I'm back pretty much until the end of the year.
Yeah, we don't miss a lot of episodes. Well, I mean, one of us will do it.
Yeah, it's either I'm busy working on a video that needs to get done or I'm on vacation.
Does Jared ever go on vacation?
No, I try to push you to go on vacation, but
I don't like vacation.
You don't like vacation, but you also don't like sitting around doing nothing. So,
well, my vacation.
You want a vacation where you have like a tour guide or something in a foreign country taking you around and directing you.
Sounds like my Japan trip shaping up with my tour guide each day that I have. I think it's only like $200 and some to have the tour guide each day. I think it's well worth it.
Just the cost of a Canon 75-300 lens
every day in Japan. It's, we'll have to figure out when I'm recording or when we're recording in Japan. When we do go to Japan, that's going to be something we'll do. We'll have to figure it out.
Yeah, that'll be a rough 2 weeks. We'll have to figure that out.
We'll do it on the road and just do it raw.
I'm just saying, I don't know when we'll have time is my thing.
Well, we're in Japan, so the time is different.
What's that mean?
I don't know what that means. They have more than 24 hours in a day when you go to Japan.
Oh, okay. The 25th hour we'll record on.
Yeah. All right. That's it, guys. This is episode 163. Thank you guys very much for listening. Jared Polin for KnowsPhoto.com. See ya.
Bye.